So it's a 99 Acura TL. We have a 3.2-liter VTEC engine, and we have a P1457 evap control system leakage. So what should be tested? Circle the two-way valve, the bypass solenoid, circle the purge, and the canister vent shut valve. Any of these things could cause a 1457, along with a leaking hose. There's the purge solenoid, so this is one of the players. Then we have the vent shut valve solenoid, and here we have the two-way valve that's got a cover over it. And we remove the cover, and there's the two-way valve and the bypass solenoid. Now, the way this technician is going to check this system is he's going to apply pressure to this vehicle from the cap. And he's going to connect a manometer to the front service port. And he's going to check for flow through the system. Now keep in mind that this device that he's using here, if he has a evap leak test device of some other type and a cap adapter, he should be able to perform this test, especially if his evap leak tester has a pressure gauge. So this tool isn't necessarily needed to perform this test. So here's the fuel tank adapter that this technician uses. He says it fits all the Hondas, J, SPX, Kent-Moore number there. So his connection is made out to the service port under the hood. He connects that to a manometer. This is calibrated in inches of water, and it's going to give you a lot closer indication of the pressure. Remember, what's going to be tested is everything on the right side of the red line. So he's going to apply pressure on the left-hand side of the fuel cap, and he's going to test that the system is sealed on the left side of that red line. He's also going to check the function of the two-way valve and the bypass solenoid. So he starts applying pressure to the system, and it builds. However, it goes beyond the expected 6 to 8 inches of water. The two-way valve should allow the pressure to release into the canister side of the system, and it should go from there out the canister vent shut valve and through the filter. This indicates that there's some kind of a blockage or restriction to atmosphere somewhere in the system. Now remember, at the same time, a manometer is connected to the evap service port, and the pressure measured at this point is considered the canister. We look at the canister side manometer, and we see that the pressure is high. If the two-way valve had not released the pressure or had a restriction, there wouldn't be any pressure on this gauge. Pressure reading indicates there's a blocked path to the atmosphere on the canister side. Now the pressure at the tank side is released. Tank side pressure is 0 now. Canister side pressure drops down to about 5 inches of water. The remaining pressure is trapped between the two-way valve and whatever blockage we have on the canister side. The two-way valve can only hold about 6 to 8 inches of water. Any pressure above that can and should and does go to the tank side. Since the fresh air path is blocked, the technician decides to check the vent shut solenoid. So here's the thought process. The path to the fresh air is blocked, and the vent shut solenoid and fresh air filter are the only two things left to check. There's the canister vent solenoid, and what the technician does, since he knows that these solenoid circuits are not protected in the PCM, he grounds the solenoid with an ammeter to make sure the solenoid's not shorted. When he grounds the solenoid, he gets about 0.37 amps, and the solenoid doesn't click. Now, after the vent valve, there's a filter that goes to atmosphere. He checks that, and there's no restriction through the filter. The technician decides the canister vent side blockage is the vent shut valve being stuck. Now, the canister vent shut solenoid is replaced. He retests the system, and as expected, the pressure builds and holds to about 6 inches of water. So every time the pressure hits the button and applies more pressure, it puts more air into the tank. Pressure releases the two-way valve, goes through the canister side and out the vent shut valve to atmosphere. Checks the canister side as well, and now there is no buildup on the canister side. The system now has a free path to atmosphere. Points to remember: use the two-way valve to help with diagnosis. The valve should trap plus or minus 6 to 8 inches of water.